Waiting to hear tonight whether Governor Scott Walker will call a special election in our area after a judge denied him a delay on that decision.
This as lawmakers say they will charge ahead on changing elections laws. Political reporter Jessica Arp is live at the Dane County Courthouse with the latest developments. Jessica?
Yeah, a spokesman for the Department of Justice says they are discussing next steps now with the governor's office after this ruling today. The governor will now be required by this decision to call a special election in these two legislative districts by noon on Thursday. Judge Richard Neese today denying a motion to put off that decision until next Friday. DOJ attorneys for the governor saying that the legislature may pass a bill next week that will change laws for special elections. Neese said that simply doesn't matter.
It is certainly the legislature's prerogative to change the law. But until they do, it is the obligation of this court to enforce the law. And the law right now in this state and under that statute and by order of this court is that this election shall be held as promptly as possible.
DOJ attorneys said today that Walker would call the election in the 42nd Assembly and 1st Senate districts on June 12th if he is required to do so, but all of this could change. Senate Majority Leader Scott Fitzgerald said late today that they will move ahead with a hearing on these bills in a Senate committee tomorrow. That bill will essentially say that these elections could not be held next year. That Senate hearing will happen rather at 10 a.m. tomorrow morning.
However, while Walker continues to push back on calling a special election, it also costs money to bring back lawmakers to take a vote.
I think they pay anything to not have these seats come up right now.
Our estimates gathered from Senate and Assembly staff show it cost about $12,874 per session day for the Assembly to meet. We also calculated that it costs on average about $3,680 per session day for the Senate to meet, which comes to a grand total of close to $17,000 to have both chambers in.
Clearly, the cost, it's priceless to them to make sure they hold on to those seats.
Dane County Clerk Scott McDonald estimates special elections will also be costly. He estimates for the 42nd Assembly District could cost about $80,000, and for the 1st Senate seat, about $200,000. These were determined by the number of polling places that would need to open, cost of ballots, and paying election staff. While elections are costly, McDonald argues the $17,000 for lawmakers to return to Madison could be used towards holding an election.
They're terrified that they're going to lose these seats. They lost one up north in the Senate district. You lose one or two more Senate seats, and you don't control the agenda completely. You don't control redistricting. You don't control any of the things that they control now. So.
Governor Walker is also making history, being the only governor to go this long by not calling a special session. Analysis from Wiz Connect shows from 1971, no governor has left a seat in the legislature for this long and for more than a year. To date, this is the longest any county has gone without representation. Live at the Dane County Courthouse, Emily Fannin, 27 News.
One of the two legislative districts affected by this ruling is right here in our area.
The 42nd Assembly District was previously represented by Keith Ripp of Lodi. So we went to the 42nd to find out what voters there think.
If you find your way down a main street in Columbia County,
I don't know if we could even have an election in the middle of the year.
But sit down for breakfast with Ken Clark.
I go and I vote every time there's an election of any kind. You can go back and look at the records.
And you'll find his opinions are strong as his coffee. And
there's no room in that building anyway for every last one of us to go and say what we want, and it would just be total chaos. And if we don't have elected representative to represent our interest in our area, then who's going to do that? There'll be no one to do it. If the law says that there's supposed to be a special election, well, then that's what should happen.
Across town, Shelley Pear disagrees.
I don't understand why we have to have a special election. It makes more sense to put it all together in one. I think that the special election was meant maybe to confuse people. So that's just my opinion.
In the meantime, the 42nd will go unrepresented in the legislature, the meaning of which, again, depends on who you run into on Main Street.
I really think we need to wait. It just seems sensible to me.
It's just wrong. wrong not to have a special election.